Hi, this is Millie de Chirico, a film writer and a programmer, and I'm going to watch with you Jennie, Wife, Child.
I work for Peckingpaw. I'm his right-hand man.
So, one of the most famous things about this film is the soundtrack, which I'm sure we're going to talk about a lot during the commentary. The soundtrack was actually released on LP by Tower Records, which was an imprint of Capitol Records. They were a partner of Curb Records for distribution. Basically, the name of the album when it was released was under the alternate title of the film, which was called Albert Peckinpah's Revenge. Most of these songs that were written, including the one you're hearing right now, were written by a songwriter named Harley Hatcher. And he was an executive at Curb Records, which was formerly Sidewalk Records. Basically, Curb is where Davy Allen and the Arrows got into the soundtrack business. You know, they were kind of the house band for Roger Corman and American International Pictures. The music we'll be talking about a lot in the commentary because it's really memorable. You'll see Davy Allen and the Arrows actually performs in the movie, but all these great songs towards the middle and end of the film that pop up, and you'll see Tower Records and Harley Hatcher right here.
Leave me alone, please, Mrs. Peckinpah. Just tend to your home.
This is interesting right here. We have Robert Carl Cohen in charge of production, but there's actually not a proper director credit on this film, which is kind of unusual, obviously. You usually see directors on the opening credits of a film. The film was sort of uncredited to two directors, actually. So you do have Robert Carl Cohen and James Landis. The film was initially a melodrama, and it was originally called Tender Grass. Apparently, the original cut was over 2 hours long, and they had a hard time securing a distribution deal. The investors of the film brought in Robert Carl Cohen to basically re-edit the film and make it sellable. As you'll see, we'll point out, he added a lot of parts to the film to make it that way. His edit of the film, I think, is called Albert Peckinpah's Revenge. When they re-edited it, it was sent out into the world as Jennie, Wife, Child. This scene here is pretty cheeky. You'll probably understand why in a quick second.
The sink's all right now.
So, starring in Jennie, Wife, Child is Beverly Lundsford. She's originally from Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I'm from. So she's a hometown girl. She was probably best known as Shirley Fletcher on Leave It to Beaver. But then she also starred alongside William Shatner in the Roger Corman movie The Intruder from 1962.
I gotta go!
Say it!
He's coming!
Say my name, Mario! You ain't no different from the others. Scared to death of him, an old man.
Obviously, I think this movie shares a lot in common with a movie like Baby Doll, the Tennessee Williams film adaptation. And, you know, you've got this Beverly Lundsford character who reminds you a lot of Carol Baker.
Thought I told you never go in my house, and I ain't here.
The sink was clogged again, Mr. Peckinpaw. Your wife asked me to look at it.
Something needs fixing around here. I do the telling, not my wife. I expect my hired help to do as they're told. I'd hate to have to fire you, Mario, just after I told you Ma.
This actor here who plays Mario is named Jim Reeder. I don't think there's a lot of information about him online, unfortunately. He was in 3 films in the late 1960s, including this one. And that's pretty much it. His other 2 films were The Glory Stompers and That Tennessee Beat, which are kind of 2, exploitation, music-related films. He had a pretty short career, and it was all kind of condensed into like a very short period of time in the late 60s.
Wasn't showing nothing that boy had working here a while back either, huh?
Just put on a pair of shorts. Nothing wrong in doing that.
There's nothing wrong in prancing around in front of other men in shorts so tight that they can see everything you got. Maybe they do that down on the river bottom, girl. But not in my house, they don't. Now, you button up that blouse.
When we was married, I thought you were going to buy
I know
me.
what you thought. Old Albert Peckingpaw would be easy pickings. Got a weak ticker. Won't be around much longer.
What happened to all those nice things you were going to buy me? Pretty clothes to cover my pretty body. Ain't that what you said, Albert? Ain't that what you said? The only thing you covered my body with was yours.
Don't talk like that to me, girl.
This is actually a pretty interesting storyline, because obviously this is taking place, the kind of drive-in exploitation era of the 50s and 60s. Part of this sort of southern exploitation circuit, or hicksploitation, as I've heard it called in the past. And, there was quite a lot of films that were being made around this era that took advantage of this kind of trope of the...
But I'm only 20, Albert.
Yeah, that was a key line right there. She says that she's actually 20 years old. But as you can imagine, the title of this film makes it seem like she's much younger than 20, that she would be underage. And, there was a lot of films kind of in this era that were taking advantage of that trope of the young wife kind of stemmed in that sort of baby doll melodramatic tradition, especially in the South. But, she reveals that she's 20. She's young, but she's not super young, but obviously much younger than Albert. So this is something that Robert Carl Cohen added to the film, were these title cards that kind of have like it's like an old Western meets silent movie font. And I think that was part of his addition to the film, was trying to make it a little peppier and less of sort of a traditional drama film.
Oh, he's out in the fields working. Besides, you can always hear his tractor when he comes. You gotta talk to somebody, don't I? I'm gonna go crazy living like this. As soon as I find out where he hides his own money, I'm gonna take some and leave. He don't trust banks, He don't trust nobody.
I think another component to this film that makes it memorable, besides the soundtrack, is that this film was actually shot by the very famous cinematographer Vilmo Zsigmond, and he's actually credited in the opening credits as William Zsigmond in this film. And as you know, he did many B films early in his career, including movies like The Sadist, The Nasty Rabbit, and Ratfink. And these were titles that he had done with the co-director, James Landis. They were both basically kind of linked up with Fairway International Pictures, which was the company that was owned by Arch Hall Jr.'s father, Arch Hall Sr. Arch Hall, as you know, the exploitation film actor who was the star of The Sadist. James Landis and Vilmo Zsigmond were working a lot together in this era, making these kind of like B movies.
More than anything in the world.
If you had lots of money, would you buy me pretty things?
If I had lots of money. I'd buy you everything.
Soft silk dresses?
Soft silk dresses? Oh, Miss Jenny, I'd buy...
Say that again.
Soft silk dress?
No. I mean my name.
Jenny?
Sounds so pretty when you say it. Makes me feel like I'm somebody.
You are somebody, Miss Jenny. You're the prettiest girl that I ever seen.
I am somebody, ain't I, Mario?
The belle of the ball. Mario!
Jack Lester is the actor who plays Albert Peckinpaw in this film. He had a pretty long career. He was in radio very early in his career in the Midwest and did a lot of TV in the 1950s and 1960s. If you're into exploitation movies, he was actually the sheriff in the movie The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant. He had a pretty long career. He was around for a while.
Cooking's getting better.
Albert, I was thinking that maybe... Well...
I'll get it for you. For your birthday. Time for my nap, Jenny. Jenny?
What's interesting about Robert Carl Cohen, the co-director on this film, he made a pretty famous Mondo film in the 60s called Mondo Hollywood, and it was essentially kind of a documentary in the Mondo style about Hollywood. Prior to that, he had been a special correspondent for NBC News in China, and he had actually traveled the world as a correspondent and had made a handful of independent documentaries about politics and sort of world leaders and whatnot. And he's had a very fascinating career, especially when you consider that he had made a movie like this alongside some of his other more serious work. But this scene right here is very interesting to me. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, it's almost kind of got a European or like an art film feel to it, like almost like a Bergman film, which is interesting. This scene I think is really interesting because it is like kind of shot pretty differently than the rest of the film. But there are moments like this in the movie, I think, that kind of pop out as being kind of different and differently paced than the rest of the film, which I think are really interesting. There's kind of moments of cool, creative, and artistic vision.
Jenny! Jenny, call Dr. Hill, Jenny.
Jenny.
You're gonna be all right. You're gonna need rest. Keep in that bed. No excitement, no foolishness. Give him one of these 3 times a day. I'll send around a list of what he's not to have.
This doctor is played by an actor named Richard Cowell.
Good thing I got here when I did.
He was in probably about 24 films and television shows. He had done things like Gunsmoke, The Addams Family, kind of like 60s TV. He was in a couple of other like interesting early 60s B pictures, and then was in a lot of TV movies in the late 80s and early 90s.
Brought you your clean linen. You don't need to be so bashful, Mario. Seen a man's chest before.
How's Mr. Peckingpaw today?
Same as he's been for the last 5 days. Jenny this, Jenny that. The only difference with him being sick and being up is he sleeps a little more.
Today's payday. I want to go to town tonight.
Who does this belong to, Mario?
It's somebody I know.
I didn't know you had a girlfriend.
I ain't got no girlfriend, Miss Jenny.
Then what you got an earring for?
She gave it to me.
Why?
I think she kind of likes me.
Do you like her?
I like her all right, I guess. I just go to see her when I wanna...
Make love? Is she pretty?
Oh, she's ugly.
Are you gonna see her tonight?
Well, I might. If she comes to the cobblestone.
Hope you have a good time.
And remember, you got a heavy day ahead of you tomorrow, Mario. Man can't do a decent day's work after liquoring up all night.
I won't be liquoring up all night, Mr. Peckingpaw. I'll be getting home early.
This character, the Mario character, was named Mario or Mario. They say Mario a lot in the film. You know, I wasn't sure if they were trying to suggest that his character is supposed to be Italian or that he was supposed to be like kind of an ethnic character or something. That would have been kind of interesting. I always question whether or not that was the case, but I guess they don't really explain it in the film. Would be kind of a interesting research to do.
Gonna have a good time every day of my life.
This is one of the big songs on the soundtrack. First of all, the background, you've got the band Davy Allen and the Arrows, who, like I had mentioned, they were pretty much specifically making music for the films, like exploitation films in the 60s. They had done a lot with Curb Records, but also with Roger Corman and AIP, like I mentioned before. There was only 2 instances, though, where they were actually in one of the films that they had done the music for, and this was one of them. So they didn't really appear as the band very often. They did in this movie, for sure. I think their most famous work was probably The Wild Angels with Peter Fonda. They had done the music for that. They were just kind of like a house band for these types of exploitation movies, which is actually kind of cool. In this film, you've got the band in the back, and then you have some singers that were kind of hired by the soundtrack creator, Harley Hatcher, songwriter and the soundtrack creator. You've got a couple coming up later in the film that are really cool songs that got kind of released as singles on top of being on the soundtrack for this movie. But this song here is being performed by Don Epperson. Don Epperson was kind of like a country slash rockabilly singer. And he actually did a couple of movies too. He acted in a couple things. He was in the movie Big Jake with John Wayne. And he's in the background, obviously, singing in this film. Interestingly enough, his daughter is Brenda Epperson, who was on the soap opera The Young and the Restless for many years. She also sings as well. She had her own singing career. Don Epperson died actually pretty early. I think he died in his early 30s. He had made a couple of great records and songs, but then had died young, which is sad.
Come on, Mario, come on. Come on, Mario, let's see you ride that thing. Come on, go ride it, Mario.
No, look, Lulu. I got it going. Yeah. Come on, Lulu. I'll take you for a ride.
So this sequence that's coming up right here is pretty memorable, I think, in the film because it kind of is part of the, I would say, nudie cutie tradition where, you would have these scantily clad or naked women appear in some of the exploitation films. Very tame by modern standards, but, back then was sort of a way to get some sex into a film. Essentially, this sequence is one of the ones that Robert Carl Cohen brought to the film. This female character, Lulu Bell, in the film was played by an actress named Virginia Wood. This was, again, sort of added later to the film, the original film being Tender Grass, more of a melodrama, and they, obviously brought in Robert to kind of spice it up a little bit, and this is what he did.
Oh, Mario, talk to me. Oh, Mario. Mario, please, talk to me. Stop it, Mario.
Hold her in my arms. Oh, Vero me.
This is actually kind of another shot in the film that sort of reminds me of, kind of has shades of like a Antonioni, Monica Vitti moment here, at least with this shot here, which I think is interesting. I mean, I think that a movie like this would have definitely played in a drive-in exploitation circuit context, but then it has these sort of moments that borrows a little bit from, kind of the European art tradition. I think Beverly Lundsford in this scene is actually fantastic. She really conveys her disgust with Mario for staying out with Lulu.
Must have had quite a time last night.
I don't remember much of it.
Lipstick all over your neck. Oh, must have had lots of fun. Of course, if you want to call going to a cheap bar and drinking cheap booze and making a fool out of yourself fun, guess you can. But I wouldn't do it, you hear?
I guess I ain't too hungry. I better get to doing my chores.
It's cheap, Mario, you hear? Cheap! Cheap!
This is another nudie cutie sequence here. We have a song here called Birthday Suit that was sung by a singer named Lydia Marcel. And she was kind of like a teen singer from New Orleans who moved to LA at some point in her career and signed to Atco Records. And this song was actually released as a single on Atco, but again, a song that included on the soundtrack by the people who were working at Curb Records, Harley Hatcher, to kind of create kind of a modern soundtrack to this film. This was one of the songs that was actually released as an actual single. And of course it's called Birthday Suit because I think we know why.
How do you like my birthday suit? I'm just crazy about my birthday suit. How do you like me in my birthday suit? Am I cute in my birthday suit? How do you like me in my birthday suit? I'm just crazy about my birthday suit. I'm just crazy about my birthday suit. I'm just crazy about my birthday suit.
How come you've been avoiding me the last couple of days, Mario?
I just been busy, Miss Jenny.
Well, you never used to be too busy to talk to me. And I know you like me. You do like me, don't you, Mario?
You better not let Mr. Peckingpaw know you been swimming, Miss Jenny.
Mr. Peckingpaw is sleeping. And don't be changing the subject. Do you like me?
I like you a lot. But you belong to him.
I don't belong to nobody, you hear? Nobody. Not unless I want to belong. I want to belong to you, Mario. Mario. Kiss me. said, kiss me.
I can't blame myself for loving you the way I do.
Here we have a song from the soundtrack that was sung by a woman named Jan Sweet. What I think is actually kind of amazing is that Jan Sweet had two sons, and they were in the band Stryper from the 1980s, the hard rock band Stryper. She actually managed Stryper for many years during their popularity. I just think that's really interesting that she had this song on this soundtrack to this B movie from the late 60s, and then ended up sort of becoming a manager of a Christian heavy metal band in the 1980s that her sons were in. This is a very sweet song, actually. I think some of these tracks on the soundtrack, some were released as singles, some weren't, but the soundtrack, you can still find it available on places like eBay and Discogs. I've seen covers of the soundtrack on the LP that have Albert Peckingpaw's Revenge is the name of the title, and then I've seen ones that had a corrective tape that was placed across the front that said that the movie was now titled Jennie, Wife, Child. So it actually had a little slip of paper on the top that said that the movie had changed names, which is very interesting.
My love go by. Love me now and forever. Love me till the day I die.
I only made love with Albert. Don't like it with him. I like it with you, Mario. Have you made love to lots of girls?
Lots of them. Where you been?
Outside?
Well, if you wasn't inside, you must have been outside. I know that. But where?
I went swimming.
You went swimming?
Can I ever go out of this house without you accusing me of something? Here. Feel my hair if you don't believe me. Albert, you're hurting me. Tomorrow, when he takes his nap, I'm going to get the keys out from under his pillow. That's where he keeps them. And I'm going to open the desk and get the black box. That's where he keeps his money. You wait for me at the old tree, you hear?
should not have do it, Miss Jenny.
We'll go away, Mario. Away from Albert and this kind of life. We'll go to dances and have lots of fun. And I'll buy silk dresses. Pretty silk dresses.
I think it's interesting with this film particularly. I mean, you think about the time era that was made and, you know, you put it alongside films like Common Law Wife and Bayou and some of these other kind of Southern exploitation films. It has pretty good production value. I think obviously there was some money behind it, considering that there was a pretty robust soundtrack and a lot of famous people involved in that regard. You know, part of it is that I think the intention for it was that it was going to be a melodrama, and it was probably going to play out a lot like Tennessee Williams' sort of Southern Gothic tales, shaped into something that would probably play better on the exploitation circuit is interesting. This is not the first time that a movie began and ended in a completely different way. I think once you do put it up against some of these Southern exploitation films of the 50s and 60s, and there's a lot of regional filmmaking happening and a lot of very low budget things happening in this era, it stands out as being pretty decent film. It was some cash behind it at a certain point. The lighting and the interiors and everything seems to be kind of like a Hollywood production. It's interesting, in the background, you've got this photo of Albert's former wife before he got mixed up with Jenny, the wife child. But yeah, maybe a picture of him and his first wife. So this is Jenny's plan to steal money from Albert and run off with Mario. But as it turns out, he did not leave his money in his safe.
I got it! I got it! We're rich, Mario.
What are we going to do?
Going back.
We can't.
We've got to. He keeps the money in the desk. I know he does.
What if he's woke up?
He might still be sleeping. We ain't been gone long. We gotta go back.
He'll kill us.
We can't leave without the money.
Miss Jenny, we oughtn't to go back there.
We're going back. Mario, come on!
I have no idea who that other picture of that's on the desk. I don't know who that picture is supposed to be. I feel like that was maybe supposed to be a picture of their daughter. They don't ever talk about it though. So it's just interesting to me that that's just sort of hanging out in the background. Just left to wonder who Albert was and who these people are, because they don't really appear in the film.
I better have a look at it.
Albert. Albert, the doctor's here.
Albert?
Oh, hello, Doc. I see you're still here, taking that medication I told you to take. If there's one way a person's going to get out of a bed, it's to follow the doctor's orders. We'll check that ticker now and see if we can get you out of this bed and back to work.
These cards that kind of pop up in the film are very interesting because I think it is intentionally trying to move the story along to provide a little bit of comedy and levity to the drama of the story. I mean, I think sometimes when they pop up, it is jarring because you're kind of in the middle of a scene. It kind of takes you out of it a little bit. But, you know, I think that in the world of exploitation movies, anything goes. The fact that they had re-edited this film and they were trying to make it less serious. And so in that context, of course you would throw in a card like that to break some of the quote-unquote boring parts up.
He sure has been acting strange for the last few days. Never says nothing. Just watches you.
He's been doing that to me, too. I think he knows, Miss Jenny.
How could he know?
In my research, I was trying to figure out where these filming locations are. I can only assume they're probably right outside of LA, just based on the landscape. Unfortunately, there wasn't a ton of that information, especially online. I don't think that there was any book or anything to reference either. Carl Cohen has a website online that talks a little bit about his career and his work. He has a version of this film that's his, I guess, his director's cut, if you will, that's on his YouTube channel. And there really isn't much information beyond sort of the information about it being, originally over 2 hours, and it was called Tender Grass initially, and that he had come in to re-edit it and fix it up. It would be interesting to get that information, because that's the thing about some of these films. I feel like, especially with these exploitation films, a lot of times there really isn't a lot of archive work that's done to put all the pieces together about how these movies were made and where, and it's a shame, because I think a movie like this obviously is really interesting, and it's really well made, and has, obviously like famous people involved, like Vilma Zsigmond and some of the people on the soundtrack, and I feel like it would be great if somebody could put all those pieces together. I guess when you're working with independent and exploitation movies, that's easier said than done, so.
Go on down here and give me a hand. Man could get himself hurt pretty bad falling off a ladder. Might even get himself killed.
Albert, there's a man on the phone about the tractor.
I like how the card pops up and asks the question that we're about to ask.
Happy birthday, Jenny.
Oh, Albert, it's so pretty. Oh, silk. Oh, can I put it on?
That's why I bought it.
I done like you told me, Mr. Peckingpaw. I brung a little present for Jenny. You don't mind, do you?
I know, Mario. I don't mind. Come in. Have a glass of wine, Mario. To Jenny.
Oh, this is the prettiest dress I ever saw.
This is for your birthday, too, Miss Jenny. It used to belong to my grandma.
Thank you, Mario. Ain't my dress pretty?
Real pretty.
Oh, thank you, Albert. Thank you. I'm so happy.
Mario's feeling rejected. Can't understand why Jenny cares about Albert's dress and not that beautiful cameo that he just presented her with.
You dance with me, Albert?
I'm too old for
Oh,
that.
come on, please. Oh, come on. Dance with me, Mario.
I can't
Yes, she can. Come on.
No, I can't.
Yes, she can.
No, I
Yes, she can. Come on. Oh, Albert don't mind. Do you, Albert?
Go ahead.
Come on. I see Albert. This is the best birthday party I've ever had. And I just love my pretty white dress.
Glad you like it, Jenny. You see, white stands for purity. Seeing as how you're so pure, I got it for you.
Why? Why, Albert?
A person is dishonest. A person will be unfaithful. There's nothing lower than an unfaithful wife. Don't you agree, Jenny?
He caught me alone with his
This song is actually really interesting because it's kind of a song that was written specifically for the film, obviously. It's talking about the narrative, which I actually think is kind of an interesting touch here. And this again is performed, sung by Don Epperson, written by Harley Hatcher, who did the soundtrack.
Jenny?
Only a crazy man would do something like this.
When I first saw this film many years ago, I had just seen the very first Saw movie. I kind of thought, this is almost exactly like the new Saw movie I just saw, where they're chained to pipes across the room from each other. And obviously, Albert Peckingpaw has drugged them and has put them here because they cheated together behind his back.
She cheated, she lied, tried to steal my money. That's what I've got for a wife. But I got 'em, well, I got 'em. It ain't gonna be so funny. Well, I'm gonna sharpen up my knife. Revenge, that's what I want, revenge. That's what I'll get, revenge. Well, it's my turn.
We've got another Don Epperson sung Harley Hatcher song here. It's simply called Revenge. I think that it's great that Don Epperson is featured so often on the soundtrack because I feel like it continues the story. It feels like watching a movie in that kind of southern folktale tradition where the songs kind of contribute to the continuity of the storyline. These tunes are actually pretty rockin' too, which is kind of cool. Country, rockabilly singer, and had some cool songs in this era. Here we have the reintroduction of the Virginia Wood character, Lulu Bell. This character was allegedly added later by Robert Carl Cohen to kind of spice up the movie a little bit, to give it a little bit more, of a salaciousness. In the title sequence, she's listed as the town floozy. Virginia Wood was in quite a bit of film and TV in the 1960s, was in the Elvis movie Spin Out, and she also was in the movie Lady in Cement with Raquel Welch and Frank Sinatra. So she'd been in some pretty big movies, but also did some exploitation stuff too.
Lulu, you better be getting out of here.
You must be getting kind of lonely, Mr. Peckinpaw. You must be getting awful lonely, Mr. Peckinpaw.
Please, Lulu. Please.
This is one of the Davy Allen and the Arrows songs. You can probably tell from the distortion of the guitar.
Mr. Peckinpaw. You're a real man, Mr. Peckinpaw. A real man.
Bit more and I'm going to get it loose.
What good is it gonna do?
Then I can get closer to the door. And next time he comes in, I'm gonna get us out of here, Jenny. You'll see. I ain't scared of him no more. I ain't scared of nobody no more. Nobody. I ain't scared of him. He's gonna hit me.
I'm a weary man and I've grown too old to keep you warm. My wood, it's so cold. Go to your tender grass.
So this song was sung not by Don Epperson, but by Jimmy August. And for some reason was not able to find much information about Jimmy August. I know he released a single on Sidewalk Records at some point. That wasn't this song, it was a different song with obviously a B-side. Couldn't find much about him as an artist, as a Sidewalk Records artist.
To keep you warm, my world.
It's interesting because you can find a lot of record collectors who are into finding these kind of old 60s garage rock adjacent soundtracks, and they do a lot of digging in terms of finding the original 45s for some of these songs. I wasn't able to find much on Jimmy August. Kind of has a, a little bit of a crooner Elvis type of feel.
There's a river running deep. There's a mountain so wide.
And obviously this song being Tender Grass, the original title for the original film before Robert Carl Cohen got involved.
Tender grass. To the tender grass. To the tender grass.
I did it, Jenny! Free, Jenny. We're free. Come on. Come on, Jenny.
You think Albert's dead?
I don't know. Come on, Jenny, we gotta get away from here.
What if he's dead?
He was gonna kill us.
He might not be dead.
Can't go back there.
I don't want to kill nobody here, even him. And if he's dead, you killed him.
I didn't mean to kill him.
I'm going back, Mario.
Yeah, I think this shot here, obviously amazing cinematography done by, who would become a world famous cinematographer. Just even in this movie, prior to his big time fame, a lot of amazing shots here that kind of, again, resemble that sort of European art house tradition of like a Bergman or an Antonioni. I'm saying big words here, considering this movie is called Jennie, Wife, Child, but I do think I stand by it. I just think that there's these exteriors are fantastic. There's a lot of good lighting techniques being used here. This is a very well-made movie. Very surprising.
Forgive me. Forgive me for the terrible wrong I've done you. I brought this all about. It was my fault. I'm just a jealous, selfish old man. Tried to take a young child's love and turn it into a woman's love. I should have known. $2,000. 5 years of my life. Take it. Take it and go. Go to your young life. Go to your tender grass.
Again, this is probably pulled from the original film, which was more of a melodrama for sure.
Go.
Gonna have a good time.
Kind of an abrupt cut there, but I think we now have the end of the film here with the Don Epperson and Davy Allen and the Arrows track, and looks like everybody's having a great time, even Lulu Bell, and everyone's dancing along to the great jams here. So, even Mr. Peckinpah. Well, I had a really good time watching Jennie, Wife, Child with you, and hope you did too.